So let's now look at two processes which are as important as the credit appraisal process, which is the legal and the technical processes. Now, why do we need to do legal? We need to do legal from two or three perspectives. One, to ensure that the property title, whether it's a developer, whether it's a self-construction, whether it's a resale, the title is clear, marketable and mortgageable. That involves legal work both at the documentation stage and also checking with the local registrar or the local authorities to ensure the property is belonging to the person who claims to own it and will be selling it to the buyer who is applying for a loan. And if you are a borrower, then of course you want to know that this property is clear so that you are getting a clean title. The second part of this is that if a developer is constructing, then has he got legal title to the property itself, in the sense that when he bought the land, either from the local person or from a government authority or wherever, that particular legal transfer of property is valid, legal and binding and unconditional, and therefore he has clean ownership to be able to construct, develop and then sell to you as an individual to whom you are now giving a loan to. On the technical side, there are local approvals to be obtained. So it all depends upon a local situation. For example, in Bombay, you might not be able to construct above a certain height in the flight zone. You might not be able to build near a beach. You might have certain restrictions in terms of the height that you can go to. So in other cities, it might be some other conditions that might exist. And each city has its own conditions. As a lender, your team should know which conditions apply, and therefore the property that you are financing is actually clean and therefore has got approvals from the appropriate authority. The appropriate authority can be the municipality, it can be the development authority, it can be a gram panchayat, it can be any local authority who has jurisdiction over giving such approvals. Now, how do companies who lend handle this legal and technical requirement? Because it's a very specialized requirement and it is specific to a city sometimes and even to certain zones in the city. So some lending institutions will have in-house legal and technical people appropriately qualified who are locals who have been working in the industry in that particular city and therefore know the nuances of the local requirements. Alternatively, since that is a people intensive requirement, then many lending institutions outsource this. They will hire local legal people or local lawyers or local technical or engineering consultants who will be taught the requirements of the particular company, coupled with the local requirements of the legal angle or the technical angle, and therefore be able to give reports which the lending company then uses in order to ensure that the legal and technical requirements have been met with. There is another angle to the technical aspect that you need to look at, which is that the technical people, in-house or outsourced, also visit sites which are under construction to see the progress of the work. They also visit sites to see the quality of the work. If it's a ready possession old building, whether the building is going to be able to stand without having a problem in its construction during the term of the loan, 15 years, 20 years sometimes. If it's a new construction, is the quality of construction adequate? Is the progress of work there? Because the recommendation to disburse comes from the technical person. He or she will come back and say, yes, there is 2 more slabs, so therefore we can disburse a certain percentage in addition to what was given earlier. So the legal and technical component of the appraisal extremely important, because ultimately it's the real estate that you are financing, the house, the property that you are financing, which is the security for the loan. You want to make sure that it is technically sound, it has got all the approvals and permissions as required from a local authority, and most importantly that the disbursement is happening as per the progress of the work. On the legal side, a title has to be clear, because the person who is taking the loan from you actually will mortgage the property to you as a lender. Now he can only mortgage a clean title provided he has a legal title, he has a clean title, and therefore that is also important, because otherwise a flawed title will give you a flawed mortgage. This is as far as a lender is concerned. From a borrower's perspective, you are buying a house. I'm sure you realize and recognize that you want a clean title. So you are more than happy to have the lending institution actually do a legal appraisal on the property. As a buyer, you also want to make sure that the quality of the house you are buying is good. It's going to stand the test of time. You're more than happy to have the technical team of the lending institution do a technical appraisal. The last thing you want is to find out that the builder has sold you a flat or a unit which has not got all the local approvals. Ground plus 2, no, he sold you on the 3rd floor and he doesn't have approval for that. So these are good things for the lender and good things for the buyer. This legal and technical appraisal is triggered depending upon whether the customer has identified the property at the time of application or is doing it later along the way. Along the way means after or during the time his eligibility in the credit perspective is being established. As and when he decides, and depending on whether the legal and or the technical person is in-house or you are outsourcing it, you trigger it by sending the documents to the legal lawyers or the technical people, who then will do the appraisal as described earlier and report back. That report legally has to be clean with no significant caveats or conditions, and the technical person must say, yes, there is progress in work, the quality of construction is good, this building is strong enough to stand for the next 15, 20, 30 years as long as your loan is definitely out there with the individual. That report is then used by the lending team internally to not only approve the loan finally from a loan to cost ratio and all those aspects, but more importantly to determine how much disbursement to make from the originally sanctioned loan.